All right.
Which you can legitimately leave all your weapons in public storage if you wanted to.
As long as it's under lock and key, right?
Honestly, as far as that goes, like it's just your liability. But as far as like just the restrictions on it, it's just like flammable stuff, body parts, people, and stuff that technically is yours, but you like stop paying for, like leases on couches or vehicles or whatever. Yeah. That's all they worry about. There's like weapons or whatever, and they were just like, whatever. It's your the state law or whatever, as long as it's yours or some shit. I was just like, oh wow, or maybe firearms. I was like, okay.
Welcome to the video version of the Toast of the Wyrd, where we constantly improve by hiding our body parts inside storage.
There's the 4Ds. I need to look it up, but I remember that the big business of public storage is like death, divorce, downsizing, and I forget the fourth one. But that's where they make all their business. A family member passes away, you need to downsize your house, or you split with somebody.
Yeah. I love how I'm like, we're gonna move away from the cicadas, and there's a screaming cicada right there. But
hey, authenticity.
You know what really cripples this though is that we're using my phone to record, and all of my show notes were on my phone. Because I sent you the thing about the
guy in the chair.
Turkish, guy in the chair. Guy in the chair. Yeah. Hey, cicada, fucking get to work here,
dude. We have our mascot be a cicada, like off of the Y-Files. Good show, by the way. Good. They've got the goldfish.
Yes, that'd be funny. Just like screaming into the void.
He got offended, or she got offended.
Good. I started screaming. I was like, it's going to come eat me.
You'd be surprised what weird stuff happens here in the desert with animals and how they react to things. Like you could pet a wild javelina. It's happened. But too many of them, and they are scary as fuck.
Did you see? All right. This is awesome. Did you see the video of the guy analyzing an interview video with a kid?
No.
Okay. So there's a normal reporter interviewing this guy, and there's an analyst reviewing the video, and he says, okay, you see the white around, you see how his pink lips are pink, right? Yes. All right. He's got pink lips. He's fine. A couple seconds pass. He's like, you see the white around the video, his lips? That's the fear reaction. You see how his face is going pale? That's another fear reaction. Now watch the cat in the background. The cat in the background, because this guy's afraid, is going to respond to that energy and climb under the vehicle for safety, because it was a cat just being pet by a woman in the background or something like that. And then as soon as that guy goes pale, the cat in the background, like irresponsive to what's actually going on with that reporter and guy, climbs under the vehicle for safety. And he was like, this is a way that our energy affects the world around us. So by me getting angry at that thing, screaming, I'm pretty sure it felt that energy and it was like, there's a predator around, and stopped, and now it's going again.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Awesome, because, on the podcastle portion of this, I can edit out that, and this whole conversation that we're having won't make any fucking sense. But on YouTube, it'll make sense, because we're there now.
Nice.
Quiet reflection. So that was pretty trippy.
Nice. It reminds me of that experiment that guy did where he had, that was a cotton or something or whatever, and he spoke into each jar. Like compliments, nothing, and then like fucking disrespect or something, and then you saw mold growing, nothing happening, and then this like
thriving.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, that has been repeated over and over and over again. You can find it. We should add this to the list of things that we want to do. Experiments and what have you. Like, hey, today we're gonna pour cola on a pork chop to see if there's actually worms that come running out of it. I wanted to do that today, but it takes too much time to set up, and we got other shit to do.
Yeah, we can probably eat the pork chops later anyway.
Probably, like, cook it. It'll kill it. So, are you following any of the Olympic stuff that's going on right now?
No, I don't have to. It's in my face everywhere. So not only there's that one guy who's shooting, but there's another girl who shoots, and they're like, she looks like an anime character, and she's so great.
Yeah,
You see
he's
that
an
one?
anime character. There was a cyberpunk. They attached the first, second, and third place people to cyberpunk, and they gave them their different races or classes, whatever it
Really?
was.
Well,
Yeah, like capo, nomad. That one was awesome. There's another one going around of like, didn't you know that he had a teammate and this was doubles and all that stuff, and she's just over there, same style as he is. Like,
yeah, it looked like
you know?
they were the same person. Yeah, shooting guns.
I think it's really, really awesome and strange the way that some of those shooters are allowed to have body modifications.
It always looked like fucking jeweler's glasses or something. The way that was like, so you could see the target.
Yep.
Maybe
Like there
Okay.
was a blinder and then the jeweler style glasses, which is probably more of like a focus kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then he just rolls up like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do this today. Pop.
And then he goes over. He's like, "Where's the smoking area?"
Yeah. Yeah. Where's it? Can I have a cigarette?
And then, the best part of it when he was like, I can't remember her name. He was like, "If you're watching, I want my dog back."
The story that he had a divorce and all this stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that was pretty funny. The
Yeah.
comments are like, "John Wick would be sad at you. Give him his dog back."
Don't make this guy come after you. More comments are like, this guy's really a Turkish hitman. And to throw everybody else off, he just got second. He's like, yeah, I'm going to throw everybody off because nobody remember whoever comes in second. Lo and behold.
That's funny though. That's pretty good. Yeah, you know what? Because I have no clue right to this moment right now who the fuck even came in first because of this guy getting so much attention. So who came in first?
I don't know.
Yeah, no one cares a shit.
Yeah, my phone's recording. Otherwise, I'd look that stuff up. We gotta improve this more. But I like it.
A tablet and be like,
Yeah, or the editor could just like splice in stuff to the video. That's capable.
right? We're like, those stats that come in, point it randomly to like where you want it to be at, like people do, and they're like, yeah,
I was watching Ninja Butterflies, and he's like, "This is an editor's nightmare." And they have their editor as a person on the personality on the pod, the multi-host, and he's all, "Stop that! Just stop pointing at stuff, please!" Like he's genuinely concerned about he's gonna have to like, "Ooh, there,
yeah,
pop
point
it up
to
everywhere."
everything, yeah. Look at our stuff. Yeah,
He went that way. So there's all kinds of fun shit. Yeah. So last week I wanted to bring this up about the conspiracies. Speaking of hitmen that are winning silver. I went down the darkest rabbit hole with the reptile people going on. Like, I don't know what Facebook thinks. It's like, oh, you're into conspiracies because you said Donald Trump's assassination attempt was just a huge coincidence or just like a huge folly of errors. We don't know.
Trump, if you were here, I'd straight up look you in the eye and be like, Dad, come on, man, that's too much.
And then his ear healed really fast too.
Yeah, there's some things, but either or, like, it may have been 100% coincidence. I'll give you this. Goddamn, brave as shit. Like someone just shot you, and you're like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
who's this one? I think it was that one. Yeah, that one.
That's a great photo op. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
but
he is a gangster though. So I mean, you gotta give that.
So I went.
Yeah, people are like,
I went down this dark rabbit hole with the algorithms and the reels. I'm moving on from that. I went down the dark rabbit hole. Yeah, stop, cut, edit, no. Ha! We're just Americans making shit up as we go along. But I went down the dark rabbit hole on Facebook because it's like it listens to us, obviously. And it's like, so watch this performer change his eyes. And it was like lizard eyes. And then it changed back to human eyes. They're like, this guy, la 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 la. He shape-shifted and all that fun stuff. So one, what's your stance on the lizard people? And two, I drank a big old gallon bucket of fluoride the next day at the dinner's office because I don't need that kind of drama in my life.
Memory wiped yourself, so
yeah, I did.
I was just like, I'm a good consumer.
Where's the Men in Black flashy thing? Boop. Where's the Men in Black flashy thing? Boop.
I have too much of a deep thought on that because I just say that I believe that they're there here. Do you want me to go on full rabbit hat?
Dude, let's go tinfoil hat because tinfoil hat's going to be the clip that makes it.
Okay. I'll have this to say about an advanced reptilian species being out in the universe. How long have us mammalian creatures been roaming around? A couple 100,000 years, right?
Yeah.
And how far we've advanced, right? Yeah. Give or take a couple 100,000, maybe 100,000, right? Are you telling me in all of the millions of years these dinosaurs or amphibians or reptiles were roaming around, none of that happened? They weren't an advanced segment of their species. There wasn't something that evolved. That wasn't, are you seriously telling me that these creatures were here for millions? Like we have the Jurassic, the, Cretaceous, the et cetera. Like those were millions of years just in themselves.
Yes.
And you're telling me nothing evolved. I don't believe any of that.
Okay, so out of millions of years,
yeah, and on top
these
of that,
reptilian people. Let me just make a quick point before I forget, because you put a pin in it. Out of millions of years, these reptilian people, they've evolved to the point where they just want to sing for humans. That's what you're telling me?
No.
They just want to sing for humans. That's all. Just let them dance.
Sing for humans. What do you mean? Where's that come from?
That comes from the video that I saw.
Huh.
He was on stage. He was a performer on stage, and he like his eyes shifted from human to reptile back to human. He was just a performer.
I think that with any of that, it's just like, let's take humans, for example, too. Do you think that an ant looks at any different type of human? Do you think they know that there's a rich human? You think they know there's poor crackhead humans?
Fair.
You think that they have any idea like which ones are on top and which ones aren't?
Fair. I don't know.
When we're coexisting in their world with them, and they're going about their little ant world, have no fucking idea. You could just come along and just like wipe their entire civilization out.
Yeah,
maybe
so
they do.
What you're telling me is that you want to shrink yourself down,
what I'm saying is
yourself
we're
to
ants.
look like an ant, and then sing and dance for the ants.
What I'm saying, exactly. How do we know? Again, like, how do we know that's not like some offshoot? Like, who knows? Just because there's different species around, and people are like, oh well, he's not in the presidential seat, so there's no way that an advanced alien species would just be out. Like, who the fuck? Any idea how bored any species would be, or what offshoot, or the best thing that you can do? And we've always dreamed about this as humans, interacting in the entertainment that you're watching. How many people fantasize about being a character in their own TV show?
I mean, there's
stuff they're watching.
Yeah,
I'd love to voice
yourself.
Character. I would love to be, voice of that guy. What would be the most entertaining thing for you as a species like that? Interacting, being in there, having them. I mean, again, that's one segment. That's one thought.
Yeah, well, plus if there are, I'm like coming around from being the skeptical now. You're like, you talk me into it. But if you're flying through space on these rocks, what's your lifespan? As an alien species, what is your lifespan? Because you could be bored for 1,000 years if you get to live to 2,000 years old.
Good point,
It's like, what are you going to do? I'm just going to go spend 30 years on Earth and be a person, and then I'm going to sing and dance for them because, some people have that bug. That is their weird. Ha!
Some people, yes, that's good. That is their weird. I like it. It's good. It's a good catchphrase. We'll keep that one up. But it's just like, at some point, and again, I don't mean this in any weird way, but looking at it in a sense, who would enjoy entertaining children all day? There are people who love that, and we need that.
Sure.
But again, at some point, you're like, what would some adult person have entertainment literally in making little kids? Like, there's no benefit to that to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, maybe that's what the creature likes.
So there's
admiration.
That's true. Yes, all things are true, but there's Blippi, right? And then there's Khan Academy, and they legitimately got started because they wanted to entertain their nieces and nephews and eventually their own children, perhaps. But the Khan Academy got started so that way that Sal Khan could teach his nephews math.
Shere Khan?
No,
sorry, that was
the legitimate founder, Shere Khan.
I'm sorry.
Shere Khan. Don't get me started on the lizard people. Let's go back to the lizard people real quick. So one of those videos that I saw was like the Thundercats was based off of this lizard people, cat people war. You did see that. I knew you saw that. Yeah. So that's the kind of like crazy that I'm just like not about, it's like, oh yeah, let's entertain children with the ancient long species war between the lizard people and the cat people. And we're going to tie it to this really, really bad 80s cartoon. I loved the Thundercats back in the day, but if you look at it, it's just terrible.
It's a kid's cartoon. I expect it to not be anything other than a kid's cartoon. Because no, I'm serious. Because you look back at other kids' cartoons, you're like, this is not a kid's cartoon. This is a really good adult, or on top of it. You know what? I think a lot of stuff. Let's go back to the ant theory, for example, and the advanced races and stuff. It is a proven fact. The easiest way for our minds to absorb something is if we believe it's fictional.
Oh.
The easiest way for you to adapt it in your mind is if you believe it's fiction. And over time, you're hearing those allegories or examples or whatever, where does your mind attribute things to? Your tales, your stories. This is the example you get. So somewhere deep inside your consciousness, cat people are okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's engraving into children. Cat people are okay. Think about it that way.
they're the good guys.
Yes,
Cat people are the good guys.
And what's interesting too is the way that story broke it down, and just using Egypt, there are tons of cat gods and cat this and cat fucking whatever. And
wasn't it the Anunnaki who were supposed to have the head of different animals or something like that?
I mean, there's the different, all the old different religions or different.
Pantheons.
There we go. Perfect. Pantheons and all that kind of stuff. And I never believed, even as a child, I'm like, I just don't believe these people back in the day came up from the muds and sticks and learned all this stuff to just worship something that was just not there. You know, like there was just too much information they knew about for this stuff not to happen. And plus, going back to all of our D&D days, for example, like, man, you tell me there's no way there couldn't be different races of people and stuff. We've proven it with the different types of humans, for fuck's sakes. And that's just off a couple different bones they found too.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh, well, there must have been Homo neanthus, damn it. Should have got these.
There was a Hobbit.
Smart.
Yeah, I know. We're
Hobbit
just
people,
flying off the cuff.
Denisovans.
Yeah.
The giants and whatever. So again, you have giants, you have hobbits right there.
And then you have humanoids, you have the Neanderthals that everybody's already familiar with because they actually teach that in school.
Well, have you actually gone down that rabbit hole? I think we talked about that.
I haven't because of the whole Mandela effect. Like, how much of this is just like...
Oh, well, no, hold on. This is what's cool about the new Neanderthal thing. They've proven this too, about how they thought Neanderthals were dumb and short and like they had that like Cro-Magnon looking kind of face or whatever.
Yeah.
This book that he came out with, whatever, they break down about how that's actually not true at all. They were like fucking huge. They're talking about the way that their bones and shit were structured and their eyes and stuff like that.
Is that the guy that said that what we know Homo erectus was banding together to like kill these guys because they were hunting Homo erectus or something like that? Like they'd have to come together to fight the giant, literally. They
proved that, well, through genetics, that our species or whatever dwindled down to like a couple hundred or 30 or something. Like we were fucking hunted to almost extinction by the Neanderthals. And they talk about how this is possibly why we have the fear of the dark. This is possibly why all these innate fears that we have, because they were night hunters. They would come out of nowhere. The Y-Files, he does a great job of explaining that guy's book. It was fucking beautiful about how it was just amazing about how giant these creatures were and all this other shit. And I'm like, whoa. And it forced us to adapt being better hunters. Like that's where they're like, this is possibly why we came up with the bow, because it allows you to attack from far away. And this is interesting.
This actually has a decent basis of why we're a communion species rather than an individualistic species, no matter how much they try to make us individuals.
Anyway, so yeah, there's the Neanderthals, the cat people, lizard people. And then there's the ant people from different Native Americans. There's all kinds of different species of people. And absolutely, I think there are different kinds of groups of humanoid people.
Sentient life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean the interior of the earth, for God's sakes.
Now, I don't think that humans are the only thing in the universe that has some kind of sentient being, or the inhabitants of Earth are the only ones that have some kind of sentient being, life, that kind of a thing. I think the universe is far too vast, far too huge for us to be the only sentient beings that exist, right? I just have a hard time swallowing the pill of like lizard people wanted to come down and transform so that way they can sing and dance for us. That's
again, maybe not all.
That's ridiculous.
Maybe not all of them wanted to sing and dance, but again, you kind of take it into perspective. Think about it this way: if you're shunned and you have no access to all that, and yeah, you may have some, genes in you, whatever you, but maybe you're too far on the totem pole, and maybe that's just a life path that specific being fell into, and they just happen to catch it on camera.
Fair.
Fair.
Like it's like, oh yeah, we could tie that into the Avengers too. What's that species of people that's in the MCU? They shapeshift.
Okay, yeah.
And then they live amongst us just as regular people.
Yep.
Just trying to get by.
Yeah.
Skulls.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about because they were made out to be the bad guy, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Wait, no, we're not the bad guy."
Yeah, but like there are bad actors in their own race of people, just like a certain race of sentient speaking people that I may be a member of.
Let's use us with dogs, for example. I could absolutely imagine there'd be the same kind of correlation with different species, especially the more advanced they are.
Yeah.
They'd have more prejudice against fucking, lower life forms. I mean, there are people who pampered their dogs to the point where they're children. There are people who fight dogs and throw them away like they're not, absolutely. I think there are aliens or other life forms that treat humans the same fucking way. And all along the entire spectrum line. Well, I just want to sing and dance. It makes me happy. And absolutely, I think that we talked about energies before.
Yeah.
Talking about fear being put off. I mean, I absolutely can see it being...
Pause. Yeah, I just made a blip to make the file a little bit smaller because we're not there yet. Oh, creepy. Is that an alarm?
Correct.
Okay. I got somewhere to be.
No, so I can try I'm awake.
Oh, okay, cool. So,
Alarm. For work, I forgot.
Advanced species. Somewhere. Everywhere.
Tons of advanced species. Yeah. So the whole fear thing, and I've heard a lot about, different beings feeding off of our fear. And it sounds not plausible. But we just talked about how your energy affects that around you. Imagine species who adapted to just feed off of energy. Because again, what do we take matter and turn it into? Energy.
Yeah. Yes.
And just skip the middleman, right? Seems way more fucking effective.
So years ago, I heard a Native American tale. And I'm not going to attribute to any tribe. I'm not going to attribute to anything because this is a source of a source of a source of a source of a source kind of a thing. But there was an old tale of like what we would consider spirits that actually feed off of the energy of an emotion, So that's kind of interesting. I think even in the Japanese culture, they have that, the tales of the spiritual entities that come and feed off of the energy of your emotion. So it has precedence in other cultures. Like we can validate this. We can validate our assumptions by looking at the past and other cultures from the past. We're just not fully versed in it. We're just sitting around a truck bullshitting about it. But
crazy though, right? Yeah. There's a lot of spirits or tales of spirits who come after you at night in your dreams. And again, that's cats. A lot about how cats are the spiritual protectors. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I've said it before. I think I've said it on the podcast what if we're just spiritual fruit for, a fifth dimensional being? Like we call it like the spirits and ghosts and all that kind of stuff. But what if it's an actual thing that we just can't perceive? Like we were talking about earlier, that are just like, yep, I think I'm going to have an old woman today. Nom, nom, nom.
Yep. Just, pass it away. Yeah. I mean, we're a giant pen, giant flat.
Yeah, we're giant flat earth for whatever spiritual entities may be eating us.
Well, with everything aside, it still bothers me how all these countries tell us you can't go investigate a bunch of ice because it's going to fuck up the environment that's out there. And you're like, what environment?
It's literally nothing.
Yeah, so that's what also gets me too about all that. Like you can say what you want and all that, but until I can charter a plane to go literally anywhere I want without anyone telling me I can't like that, it's going to make me question what the fuck is over there. Until and I've seen a bunch of weird ass videos too of some people flying. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's some weird ass videos out there of people like going beyond the ice wall and stuff like that. People flying in helicopters and seeing things, and especially with all of the weather stuff happening, like, God damn it, so terrible when you see the guy in the chair, all those rivers in the Middle East and that side of the world drying up and everything.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that.
Crazy statues that are popping out and all kinds of stuff. And so I can only imagine if, again, the world is heating up and the ice is shifting, global warming is a thing. Is it whatever is going on? No, I believe ice is moving from one place to another, and that's what the world's always done. But in any case, we don't need to make it any worse, right? Keep your trash and your shit. However, I can only imagine things moving and like what that continent would reveal, simply because it's just been under ice for so long. I think it'd be stupid for anyone to think that there's nothing there. I mean, it would be absolutely stupid for anyone to think there's nothing there.
Yeah, and it's something, what is it, 80% of the world's ocean hasn't even been explored at all either.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, said that again, from the highest peak, Mount Everest, to the lowest part of the Marianas Trench, there's only 11 miles. That's not that like deep at all, really. Like, you know,
it's not that far at all.
Yeah, so we've investigated like nothing of a small marble we're sitting on.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think our giant fishbowl is much bigger than we think it is. I absolutely think we're in a fishbowl. The whole firmament thing. Look that shit up in the Bible. That's crazy. The firmament.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm so glad this is like our first video episode too.
Absolutely.
It's like, yes, I'm going to tie this all together, make it shorts, and nobody's going to pay attention to us because we're just off the deep end. But sure.
When you're the father of rockets, right?
Firmament. This guy.
And you have, you know who I'm talking about, folks. And when you have that on your gravestone, talking about the firmament and that Bible quote, it says a lot from the grave to me.
Look it up. What's that Bible quote you're talking about?
Again, do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what any of this is. This is all brand new to me.
Father of Rockets gravestone quote. Like it's not being recorded, right? Like, I know I walked away for nothing.
Yeah, you're mic'd.
We're professionals.
Thank you, Joe Rogan, for listening to us.
Father of Rockets gravestone quote. There we go. I'm being very von Braun most. Yeah, there we go. Werner von Braun. Terrible with names, by the way. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork.
Firmament? What does that even mean?
It's the shell around us, apparently.
The shell around us.
Because even and this is what's fucking interesting too. You talk about they have this whole clip of politicians and people from NASA, astronauts talking about, oh yeah, if we could just reach that glass ceiling, like all kinds of weird like little hints at stuff. And again, it goes into the whole like why the moon landing was fake, because we can't get to the fucking moon. Or some weird shit, or behind the moon is like, or whatever. I was like,
so
what?
We're basically the Truman Show trying to video ourselves to make a little bit money to get by in the Truman Show, so that way we could eat for 80 years and then die.
I'm gonna try to max out to what our genetic overlords put in there.
120?
Exactly, 120.
Okay.
Get right up there, 120. Just which I'm fine with that. You know, got to live a little longer, but I'm gonna be I want to be a centennial. I want these teeth when I'm 100 years old.
Cheers.
Keep them teeth, folks. Your health is your wealth. Regular checks, I'm just saying, you know, everywhere.
Cheers to the weird that is this podcast today. What are you guys going to do? We're going to go deep into the conspiracies. We're going to have Toast of the Weird tinfoil hats at toastoftheweird.com. No, we'll have Toast of the Weird tinfoilhats.com. But that's false advertising. That's a joke. Oh, man. Speaking of tinfoil hats, too, did you see the Weird Al video?
Yeah.
With the Illuminati, and he's figured it all out.
Is that recent?
Yeah, that is
wow, he's
recent.
Looking pretty good, Wyrd Al. You're looking pretty good.
I know. Maybe he's a lizard person who never changes, and he just wanted to sing and dance for people. He's like, you know what I'm going to do? Parody. What I'm going to parody? The truth.
You know, people laugh the most when the truth is being put in their face in a funny way. It's comedy. And then also, too, that's that universal karma where I'm like, well, I told you. And, you know, I've experienced, too, that from people. People do that. They're like, well, I told you.
I told you.
It's true. And again, too, though, it's interesting how you actually disperse that. It's crazy.
It's not on me. I told you. I told you we're just making this to try and sell you some T-shirts.
Like and subscribe and visit us on Patreon.
We don't have a Patreon yet. We just got onto YouTube. Half a year in, 28 episodes. And now we're on YouTube. And we did the video thing.
1% of podcasters, though.
Yeah, because we made more than 21, 22.
Right? Wow.
Try using it hard. Trying isn't hard. It's maintaining it and the consistency that's hard.
That's like working out. We work out, but I mean, we work out 4 days a week for 2 years straight. How was it? It was the Tater Tot who was saying it. I'm sorry, that sounds a little like you're a child. The Top G Tate. There we go. That sounds better.
Which one? Tristan or Andrew?
No, well, he's not. Like, they don't ever call Tristan Top G, right?
I guess.
I mean,
anyway.
Sorry.
What about the Top G?
Anyway, Top G. He was talking about, and I thought about it, but it gets interesting. You hear other people have your thoughts, and again, the way he laid it out is even better. He's like, can you imagine who you would be right now? He's like, in the last 2 years, he's like, you never skipped a workout. He's like, if you did this, he's like, you imagine who you'd be all like, I'm just like, it laid it out, and this made you really kind of question all of your choices and, you know, the way you've lived your life for the last 2 years up until right now. And I'm like, it's true. You know, if Wyrd kept going with everything and, you know, worked out consistently, like how big or fit. Again, you have to be big. I'm never going to be a big guy, but I'll be very fit.
Yeah, I think being fit is more important than being huge and muscular and all that stuff. I mean, cheers to the people who want to do that.
I think it's a lot of, again, too, it's like I could get 50 more pounds of muscle on me, but to be able to maintain that at my body, you know, structure and, you know, my metabolism and all that kind of stuff, you know, the effort. And again, is it natural for me to carry that?
I just want to be able to lift up my grandkids.
Right. Again, I think it's the point of just being as fit and capable, dangerous as you can be, and whatever that looks like physically. Like, you know, I don't think that matters as much. And again, we talked about the whole 6-pack thing, right?
Yeah.
Who was that bodybuilder who, God, not just The Rock, but he went from being a meat eater to being a vegetarian. You know, talk about how much stronger he was and everything, and no 6-pack whatsoever, but I wouldn't fuck with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how ripped my fucking core is. I wouldn't mess with that
Andy
dude.
Elliott thing. It's like, I look good, I take care of myself, and I can take care of you as far as that sales mentality, business mentality goes.
Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about body modification, because that's all really it is. So at what point are you making it, or are you trying to modify it this way? That's all bodybuilding is. But again, if you want, and again, if your frame is natural on that, we call it the buff Buddha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a buff Buddha, man, there's nothing like that's beautiful.
That's the dad bod thing.
You know?
It just goes to show that
dad bod is a fucking huge. I'm talking about buff Buddha. I'm talking about you have a belly on you. Like we're talking about that bodybuilder.
Oh, you're talking about the world's strongest man competition style.
Shit like that, or just again, that's their frame. He's not super cut. He's not like he's super defined, but I wouldn't fuck with that guy who could literally, they proved it. He could fucking crush your skull like in the scene of Game of Thrones. He could legit do that. Mm-hmm. So I don't give a fuck how many abs that guy has.
I was about to say, that dude has abs. Everybody's been talking about it. It's like, you're that big and you don't have abs. That's unfortunate. And the dude's like, what do you mean I don't have abs? And he just lifts up his stomach and flexes.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not just so like defined. Yeah, it's not like popping out. So either way, just again, it's talking, you know, how he's natural. His body structure supports that. Like if he tried to drop 150 pounds or 100 whatever, you know, X amount of weight and just shred himself out, it wouldn't be natural for him. It wouldn't be.
No, I think with the, what is that? Okay, so let's differentiate this. The bodybuilder versus like a world's strongest man competition. The bodybuilder is actually structurally weak. If you think about it, yes, in their own right, they have muscle, they are strong, and all that other good stuff. Shit about
the motions, a lot of that just breaks your body, like it breaks the fuck out of your
tendons. Yes, it does, and that's why a lot of those
bones and joints.
And that's why a lot of those bodybuilders don't live past 40, 50, 60. Even Mosey's on there saying, "Yeah, I knocked off 10 years, but this is just the body that I want with my frame. This is what I want for me," and that's fantastic.
To be able to lift that kind of stuff. And that's why there's all kinds of different alternative to muscle growth now. Because again, the wear and tear on your joints, lifting that much weight consecutively, you can do it, but
yeah, but that goes to your training style. That goes to the
do I know? let's throw that out there. Let's be real.
Throw it out
there. The giant guys out there being like, you know what you're talking about. You're like, I read in a book, so yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. But
I saw it online on the shorts.
Thank you. Exactly. Let's
No, that just goes down to your body style and your choices and what you want to do with your life. That goes down to you controlling your own destiny and your own fate, which is all about the test of the weird. But the old man strength comes from like a full range of motion, as they say. Prove me wrong. Let's start some shit. Just comment. Start a war. But they go through full range of motion versus like a bodybuilder who does short range of motion to get that nice little pump. You know, I know like when we go to work out, I try to get the full range of motion in all of my movements, you know, but it does barrel down to what your body type is, what your goals are, you know. You want to be some ginormous person who enjoys eating cheeseburgers 6 times a day. By all means, enjoy that, you know. No need to body shame or choice shame. But if you want to like be functionally strong and if you want to just look strong, those are legitimately 2 different things. Functionally strong is the Eddie Howard's world's strongest man, I think that guy is, of the world. And then bodybuilder strong is your Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mike Mesner style of thinking. Although I think Mike Mesner was trying to borderline the research into all this.
Mesner. Name sounds familiar, but
he was the coach from the 70s. He was like a strength coach from the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
He trained Arnold Schwarzenegger. He came up with the notes for all this stuff. He was a really prominent figurehead. And a lot of what he studied and what he thought was debunked, but he wasn't out there to be like, I'm the only right kind of thing ever. He was out there to be like, okay, let's look into this. Let's see what is actually functionally strong versus aesthetically pleasing, you know?
It's true. Yeah. You can be shredded looking and then someone else could just destroy you because the way that it's functioned, like it's a working man versus the working out man, I want to say. Like, okay, perfect example. I want to say
they have those challenges.
Did you see that? Okay, there was a clip going around, and it was part of the Olympic or whatever. But there was a guy like he wasn't deadlifting, but clinging. Maybe I think it's called clinging, where he's fucking and then fucking weight all the way up, right?
Okay,
jerk cling, whatever. And they had it next to this working man in Africa. I'm assuming he was at like an open pit mine or something, and his team is on a box or whatever, and they're like lifting this huge rock up to him, and they paired it right when the guy's like doing this Olympic weight, and it looks like it's almost heavier. The guy's got the rock, and he's just like and throws it in the big dump truck right as this fucking guy's like jerking and cleaning this shit, and they made some sort of comment. I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, this guy motherfucking needs to be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Like, damn, man.
There's a lot of that of like actual fully functional hardworking people versus like, I hate to go all class, but the athletes who've trained for all this stuff. There's a fighter in the UFC. Forgive me, I don't know his name. Similar story. He was yoked. He's like huge, massive, and I heard this on Joe Rogan, but he's talking about how the guy never worked out.
Big black guy, right?
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah,
never worked out. Dude, he's just shoveling sand for 16 hours out of the day, you know, rain or shine. You know, makes the U.S. Postal Service look like a bunch of little lazy people with their motto. But he was just straight working, and then he goes into the UFC and just like clowns on some people, just crushes them, you know, and they're like, he doesn't work out. Well, what does he do? He, you know, dug ditches.
Yeah, he works.
You know,
I had a clip of him running, like the guy was like, you know, I think Joe actually said he's the strongest guy or one.
Yeah, he is one of the strongest guys. He has the strongest punch in the UFC, I think is what it is.
Impressive. That guy was definitely, so listening to that, and I was like, yeah. Very impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's some crazy shit.
But again, that's function over fashion, too.
But he was still cut. But yeah, exactly. It was him just doing manual stuff all day. And that's probably how people discovered back in the day how you got big. It's just, hey, we need you to move all these rocks. How is he so much bigger? He moves more rocks than everyone else.
The mountain men of the past, the original survivalists, right? They had a theory about this, and this was called physical hygiene for them, because they never knew when they'd have to legitimately fight a bear or, you know, walk 78 miles uphill in the snow both ways kind of a thing.
Okay.
They called it physical hygiene, and they would go out and they would train with the logs and the rocks and all that stuff. If they weren't hunting, fighting, fishing, or any of that stuff, they would legitimately source a part of their existence to becoming physically fit.
Whoa.
Hey, buddy. We didn't get that. We didn't get half the distractions that we're looking at. It's better when we're on voice. Voice only is so much different. But yeah, men of the past. What all did we cover? We covered everything. We covered tinfoil hat. We covered lizard people. We covered the Olympics, current events, sort of current events. This is more like tinfoil hatty than current events.
Something we haven't done, we could do here that I saw that someone was looking into and was really interesting results. They were putting their rainwater under a microscope.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We could do a lot. We just have to do it.
With all of the stuff that's been or may have been pumped into our atmosphere by certain planes.
Potentially. Can't prove anything. Dear CIA, FBI, we're just crazy.
There was that one guy who is an animator for Disney going on telling how he was contracted and given an exorbitant amount of money to go back and put in those lines in their movies. It was fucking crazy, dude. He was like, yeah, they paid me to go back and put chemtrail lines in all the old Disney movies. And I was like, what?
To make it look normal?
Yeah, to normalize it. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So there's another aspect to this with the exhaust. When the plane stopped flying, again, thank you, Mr. Rogan. You're like 90% of my source for everything.
It's true if Rogan said it.
Yeah, it's absolutely true if Rogan said it, especially if he comes back 5 episodes from now and goes, I was just kidding. I didn't know what I was really talking about, but I've already talked about it. So anyway, they were saying that after 9/11, after all those planes stopped flying because of the cloud coverage from their exhaust trails, because there's chemtrails and there's exhaust trails. The cloud coverage from their exhaust trails actually heated up the earth just a little bit because all those planes weren't flying and casting shadows on the earth and all that stuff. So they're saying that the planes not flying is attributing to global warming for those 2 weeks or whatever it was when the planes were all grounded.
I got just like a big cartoon picture of like the earth. Like, like it's a big cartoon and it's like taking off its sunglasses being like, I was just turning over to tan. What's going on here? Like, seriously, the earth's going to do like, yes, we make some stuff happen. I absolutely think that there are things that we can do to attribute to some things, but I don't think of us changing the climate in the sense of more of us looking at a shitty beach with trash all over it or the ocean. Like that to me is what you should be concerned about. Not the weather doing what the weather does, but you not leaving shit around that fucks up Mother Nature.
Well, also doing things like cutting down trees. Yeah, that fucks up Mother Nature. Yeah, cutting trees, plastic bottles, reduce, reuse, recycle, try to leave the earth better than you found it. Campsite rule.
There was a congressman or senator, some poor person was in front of them talking about how we need to eliminate plastic, and the guy was looking at her, just him, her, whoever it was, sorry, just letting him finish, and the guy was just like, so you're telling me we just need to eliminate plastic altogether? They're like, oh, that's right. And he's like, what are your glasses made out of?
Yeah.
He's like, what is the sole of your shoes made out of? What is this? And the person was just like, and he's like, so how much plastic did you walk in here with?
Yeah, there are alternatives to this. Dude, that's another thing. That's another deep, energetic thing. So yes, the plastic is in everything we use, from even the medication that we take.
I know, oh my God.
To the clothes that we wear, to the bottles that we have, to all that stuff. It would legitimately need to take out a totally different industry. We'd legitimately eliminate the petrol industry as we know it, right?
Can't do that. Big oil.
Yeah, we're dead before we even started. So there's no way that this is going to happen overnight. You can't just like eliminate plastic is the main thing that I was going to get to. Like, there's no way that plastics are going to be eliminated. I mean, it's in your Subway bread, for crying out loud.
I think that once I heard about microplastics and how was it a credit card's worth of plastic in your body or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Like the average person, I was like, that's creepy. I think that restructuring our society around things that don't need to be plastic versus some things that have to be, and again, like it's just sourcing what we should.
All things in moderation except for moderation, I think is really
a good one.
Yeah.
I don't like cleaning up glass, but it was a really good material.
Yeah. But they're saying that we've consumed so much of these plastics that it's legitimately shrinking the taint and diminishing the amount of testosterone in young boys. That is something that I've heard on the internet, so I'm not touting it as truth.
Your balls in your butthole, huh?
I was trying to be scientific because we're on video and we're going to be on a new.
Some people don't know what that is.
Broadcast.
And I don't want them to think attributing it to a person.
I thought the whole point of this was to make people look up stuff. Gosh.
Yeah, but I was just, as you said it, I'm like trying to remember too. I'm like, that's what he's talking about, right? I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that since I was, in the 20s. It's very much a 20s.
Yeah, no,
maybe you young folks are into that, the whole like eating ass on the first date thing. Maybe the taint is just, around there.
Bye, YouTube. Loved you. Thanks for letting us be there for a day. Yeah, that's one of our broadcast network. I don't think we can say that.
You said it already.
Back when we were on the others podcast, this is why we only have 3 followers. Anyway.
We've grown. You see that? We've tripled in size.
No, we haven't grown.
You said 3 followers.
You, me, and Joe Rogan. That's all that follows us.
No.
That's
where he gets a lot of his material from.
Cut that out.
He gets lots of his material from us.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it goes. Yeah. He just sources our material. And he's like, these guys with their tinfoil hats are so crazy. I'm never going to invite them on because I need to make up my own original stuff. Meanwhile, we're sitting there citing him for all the stuff that we've pulled from him. And
I don't know, man. One day be some
Andrew Tate and
that'd be some pinnacle moments. Be like, can we get the classic picture? Yeah. Put on the wall. Show people I met you.
Can we get a little shout out? Maybe a little bump? Well, you have to be funny
social
first.
Media thing. If it's not documented, no one will ever believe you, right? Actually, I think one of those moments that I would probably like, for example, if I ever were to like encounter someone like that in like a public scenario, I don't think I would ever have the necessary desire to like try to document it. It'd be one of those things kind of like,
I don't need to prove this to anybody that I did this.
Or like, I don't know, just the idea of like, I guess I'll use the term gushing over someone. I'll just be like, for example, let me just throw a name out there. I'd be like, oh, hey, Brad, you did some good movies, man. I'm serious. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, it's Brad Pitt. I just, they're a person, they do things. And, yes, I admire them as an actor or a professional.
But then there's the other flip of that coin. It's like, what's wrong with that person? Like, who are they that they're not fawning over me? Should I be fawning over them?
You sure? I don't think they give a shit. One of the movies, the ideas I've always wanted to actually do is like have a like underground restaurant where actors can go to, where people literally just treat them like they don't give a shit, like they're just another person. Because again, the whole like someone fawning, like, yes, and you go to a restaurant, and yes, there's that classy kind of, people, it's the stars or whatever, but no, like, you don't think that they just want to go and get a goddamn burger and fries somewhere? You don't think they just want to roll up and have some chili hot dog?
Have to have people go buy that for them.
Exactly. So you have like some like place where they could just roll up and be like, oh, cool. The hot dog, yeah? Quit being a dick, Brad. Get it out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of like, I think they would love that experience. Some people would be like, treat me like a normal person. Yes.
Yeah, well, Johnny Depp has an interview where he's like, I had to buy a private plane because I just couldn't with all the fans.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no one.
They were slowing me down because he'd have to be somewhere, like, planes run on, clockwork.
Yeah, exactly.
He had to catch a plane, and then everybody's like, hey, picture. He misses his plane, and then that causes him an inconvenience. So,
yeah, you gotta sign the autographs, which is cool. Again, like, anything cliche like that. I think if I were able to have a bar conversation, Johnny Depp, for example, whatever, we're sitting there, just happens to be Johnny Depp, and we're sitting there for whatever reason, and he's just like any other random Joe, and we end up having a fucking, great conversation. He's like, hey, would you like, that would be kind of cool if it was like realistic.
Organic.
If he was like, hey, can I get your picture? Why? He's like, you're the only fan that doesn't act like a piece of shit or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that would be great. I'd be like, right. What, awesome. Or, just sitting there chatting, like, so no cameras around. Like, what is your favorite movie you ever played? And like, really, like, no bullshit. Like, why was it fun? That's fucking cool, man. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid, right? You probably get that shit all the time. But again, just that casual, like, acting like they're just Joe Blow fucking. I think someone of that status would really admire that. I think it says a lot about the other person, too. Like, maybe because I've met a billionaire before because of my job, I'm not so. Because, he is the most humble billionaire you'll ever meet. Humble billionaire.
You have to tell me when the mics are cold. Is that the owner of your establishment?
Either he's a world-class actor, or he's the most sincere billionaire you'll probably ever meet. And I think,
they say that money amplifies who you are.
Yeah.
If you're a piece of trash, you're going to be a piece of trash, like an overt piece of trash when you have all kinds of money. But
that's very true.
Anyway, dude, we got other other bridges to burn and all that stuff. So you've already asked, you've already done out that outro and begged and all that stuff, but we're just getting started.
Beg?
On the
No,
video.
no, that was in the beginning. I don't particularly see it as begging anymore. I think it all has to do with, again, too, like your perception. I don't think of it as someone begging me when they're like, yeah, Patreon. I'm like, well, if I want, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Again,
I thought about your digital, holding out the digital hat kind of thing. It's like, hey, just contribute to our, you know.
You want to, you don't. I don't feel that anything. Why? Because, and even the sense that as long as you like, subscribe, or comment, any sort of small amount of contribution helps in any way. I can understand being in your position that even something as small as that. Thank you in advance.
Sharing is caring, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, there's plenty of people. The only support they get from me is my subscription.
That's all you need.
But I'm one of their 1 million subscribers.